psychology behind Sean John Combs' crimes, a chilling analysis. The story of Sean Diddy Combs, also known as Puff Daddy and P. Diddy, is a tale of meteoric rise and catastrophic fall. From a self-made music mogul to a man facing life imprisonment, his journey is a stark reminder of how power, when unchecked, can corrupt absolutely.
This analysis delves into the psychological motivations behind his alleged crimes, the mechanisms of control he employed, and the lessons we can draw from this harrowing case, the allure of power and control. At the heart of Diddy's story is a man who rose from poverty to become one of the most influential figures in the music industry. His journey from a struggling artist to a billionaire mogul is a testament to his ambition and talent. However, beneath the surface of this success story was a deep-seated need for power and control. Psychologically, individuals who grow up in environments of scarcity and instability often develop a heightened desire for control as a coping mechanism. For Diddy, the trauma of losing his father at a young age and growing up in poverty likely fueled his drive to dominate every aspect of his life and the lives of those around him. His empire spanning music, fashion, and media was not just a business venture. It was a fortress of control, a way to insulate himself from the vulnerabilities of his past, the manipulation of vulnerability. One of the most disturbing aspects of this case is the systematic way in which Diddy preyed on vulnerable individuals. His victims were often young, aspiring artists or individuals who looked up to him as a mentor and gatekeeper to success. He exploited their dreams, their insecurities, and their trust, using his position of power to manipulate them into situations of abuse. This pattern of behavior is characteristic of predatory individuals who seek out those who are less likely to resist or report their actions. By offering opportunities for fame and fortune, he created a dynamic where his victims felt indebted to him, making it difficult for them to speak out against his abuses. This psychological manipulation is a hallmark of narcissistic and sociopathic behavior, where the perpetrator sees others not as human beings with rights and autonomy, but as objects to be used for their own gratification. The use of drugs and alcohol as tools of coercion is another chilling aspect of this case. By drugging his victims, Diddy ensured that they were physically and mentally incapacitated, making it easier for him to exert control over them. This tactic is not only a means of facilitating abuse but also a way to create a sense of shame and guilt in the victims, further silencing them. Substance abuse also played a role in Diddy's own life, as it often does in cases of extreme narcissism and sociopathy. The constant need for stimulation, the desire to escape reality, and the pursuit of ever more extreme experiences are common traits among individuals who engage in such behavior. The parties he hosted, described as freak shows, were not just gatherings of excess. They were carefully orchestrated events designed to break down boundaries and normalize deviant behavior. One of the most insidious aspects of this case is the way in which Diddy created an illusion of consent. By involving his victims in a web of financial dependency, career opportunities, and social connections, he made it seem as though they were willing participants in his schemes. This illusion of consent is a common tactic used by abusers to justify their actions and to shift the blame onto their victims. However, true consent cannot exist in a relationship where there is a significant power imbalance. Diddy's victims were not in a position to freely consent to his demands. They were coerced, manipulated, and often physically forced into compliance. The psychological impact of this kind of abuse is profound, leading to long-term trauma, feelings of worthlessness, and a distorted sense of reality. As Diddy's power grew, so too did the severity of his abuses. What began as manipulation and coercion escalated into acts of sadism, where he derived pleasure from the suffering of others. This escalation is a common feature in the behavior of serial abusers, who often become desensitized to their actions and seek out increasingly extreme experiences to achieve the same level of satisfaction. Diddy's sadistic tendencies were evident in the way he treated his victims, both physically and psychologically. He not only inflicted physical pain but also engaged in psychological torture, using threats, humiliation, and isolation to break down their sense of self. This behavior is indicative of a deep-seated hatred for others, a desire to dominate and destroy, and a complete lack of empathy. Diddy's downfall began with the civil lawsuit filed by his former girlfriend, Cassie, who accused him of abuse and manipulation. This lawsuit was the first crack in the facade of his empire, revealing the dark underbelly of his success. As more victims came forward, the extent of his crimes became impossible to ignore. The psychological impact of this collapse cannot be overstated. For someone who had built his entire identity around power and control, the loss of that power was devastating. Diddy's attempts to maintain his innocence, his offers of large sums of money for bail, and his promises to change were all desperate attempts to regain control over a situation that was rapidly spiraling out of his grasp. This case serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of holding individuals accountable for their actions. It also highlights the need for greater awareness and support for victims of abuse, who often suffer in silence due to fear, shame, and the manipulation of their abusers. One of the most powerful tools against abuse is the courage to speak out. The victims in this case, despite the immense pressure to remain silent, found the strength to come forward and share their stories. Their bravery has not only brought a predator to justice but has also inspired others to do the same. The music industry, like many other industries, is rife with power imbalances that can enable abuse. There is a need for systemic change to ensure that individuals in positions of power are held accountable and that victims have access to the support and resources they need.
As a society, we must cultivate empathy and compassion for those who have suffered abuse. Too often, victims are met with skepticism, blame, or indifference. By listening to their stories and offering support, we can help them heal and prevent future abuses.
Diddy's rise to fame and fortune was celebrated by many, but his story, the cautionary tale about the dangers of idolizing power and success. We must be vigilant in recognizing the signs of abuse and exploitation, even in those who appear to be at the pinnacle of their careers. The story of Sean John Combs is a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity and the devastating impact of abuse. It is a story of power, manipulation, and the exploitation of vulnerability, but it is also a story of courage, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. As we reflect on this case, let us remember the lessons it teaches us and strive to create a world where such abuses are no longer tolerated. Let us honor the bravery of the victims by continuing to fight for a world where power is used to uplift, not to destroy, and where every individual is treated with the dignity and respect they deserve.
Not be considered as legal advice or factual evidence. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research and consult with legal professionals for accurate and personalized information. The content may discuss sensitive topics, and viewer discretion is advised. The opinions expressed in this video are those of the content creator and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated individuals or organizations.
Thank you for taking the time to follow my channel. Please subscribe now and join us on this eye-opening journey.